Coming up on the Week in Review, body cam footage released in Chicago ICE shooting. More moves in the fight for a new Bears stadium. Plus, a group tracking ICE in Little Village. Live from spring training in Arizona. And celebrating Black History Month in Chicago. This is your Fox Chicago Week in Review.
The Chicago woman shot 5 times by a Border Patrol agent is fighting for the release of all evidence in her case.
Terrence is here with more on this. And Terrence, we understand she filed a federal lawsuit Wednesday seeking tens of millions.
Yeah, we've been closely following this case, Marimar Martinez, since the beginning. She's pushing for all evidence to be made public. Her attorneys accuse the Trump administration of mishandling the investigation and spreading lies. Body camera video released Tuesday shows what happened last October. Martinez followed Agent Charles Exum's vehicle for 15 minutes, honking to warn the community about ICE being in the area. The video shows him steering left into her car, then shooting 5 times as she drives by. They call her a domestic terrorist and then charged her with ramming. She's a teaching assistant with no record. The agent told the FBI all 5 shots went through the windshield. Ballistics show 3 hit the passenger side, 1 the back. And then text messages also released show that he bragged about 7 holes. Hours later, she was in the hospital. Commander Ravino emailed the agent praising his excellent service. Her attorney says Martinez wants this all to be out there to push for accountability.
The chief of Border Patrol, while Marimar's in the hospital hooked up to IVs, hopefully going to survive, is emailing the agent saying, "Good afternoon. I'd like, of all the things, right? I'd like to extend an offer to extend your retirement by age 57. So what message does this send to all the agents? Okay? If you shoot a protester while you're wearing the Border Patrol uniform, the first thing you're going to get within 4 hours of the shooting, first of all, there will be no investigation. Second, there'll be no administrative review.
Martinez's attorneys have filed a federal complaint. If DHS doesn't respond in 6 months, they can sue. By the way, that agent is still with us.
Yeah, we're here in Fulton Market, just along Lake and Peoria, and I'll step aside so you can see. This is the sidewalk where that man was pinned at gunpoint and beaten before 2 male suspects stole his items and took off. I will say there is a Chicago police squad car here that just pulled up in the last hour or so, and we don't know necessarily whether this is connected to the investigation of this robbery or whether they're just stopping by. I want you to take a look at this video, though. As you said, it was all caught on camera. This may be a little bit hard to watch just given the graphic nature of things. As you mentioned, this happened during broad daylight yesterday. It happened just before sunset at around 4:30. And according to police, at least one of the suspects pulled out a gun and demanded items from the victim while the other suspect beat him. Once the suspects got the victim's item in their hands, they took off in the Range Rover seen in this video. I did check this morning, guys, and the number of violent crimes reported, specifically when it comes to robberies, are actually down in Chicago. The city has an online dashboard that shows you something called violence and victimization trends. So here's what I found. In 2020, when crime rates were historically high all across the country, you can see robbery victimizations across Chicagoland were up. Compare this to just last year, those numbers dropped by a lot, especially towards the tail end of 2025. Now, this morning I spoke with the executive director of Fulton Market Association, and he told me about what he thinks needs to be done to keep people safe.
Criminals will commit crimes when there's cameras or when there are not cameras. However, I do believe they know in Fulton Market that there have been a few armed robberies. There have been some, like other neighborhoods, and they're not being caught. And so the first line of defense is to have Chicago police cameras that would record not only the crimes that happen, but the vehicles coming in and out of the community.
Well, meanwhile, we know Chicago police say that they are investigating this robbery, and we also know the suspects, as of this morning, are still.
So here on the ground this morning, we know investigators are now giving a description for the first time of the suspect from that surveillance video the FBI pushed out earlier this week. The agency is describing the suspect as a man somewhere between 5'9" or 5'10" with an average build. And also, we're now learning that the FBI is increasing that reward from $50,000 to $100,000. So again, the FBI really counting on the public here with this new information on the approximate height and build of this person, along with those characteristics we saw in that surveillance video, the eye shape, the eyebrow, hoping someone would be able to single this person out and then tell police.
Caroline, when we spoke with you yesterday, there was a white tent that went up right behind you around Nancy Guthrie's porch. So what are you seeing out there this morning so far?
Yeah, Brian, we know yesterday investigators put up a white tent for about 90 minutes in front of Nancy Guthrie's front door yesterday, blocking all kinds of access. We really couldn't see much what was going on, but we did see investigators leaving with what looked like a measuring stick. And then shortly after, that's when we saw the FBI send out the height of the suspect, the estimated height of the suspect. So again, we have to assume that that's what investigators were doing, but we're just not sure.
And tell us about, you know, in that doorbell surveillance video, clearly, like you said, we're getting a few more details, but we're also getting kind of conflicting, if you will, information from the federal government versus the local government. Are we seeing a bit of a rift there?
Yeah, so like you said, we are getting a couple more details publicly on this suspect, right? Height, you know, characteristics like the eyebrows, eye shape, but we're also hearing behind the scenes there's a little bit of a drama going on between the local and federal investigators here on the ground. So a federal source told Fox News that the Pima County Sheriff is blocking the FBI from seeing specific evidence in this case. So we're talking about a glove that was found inside Nancy Guthrie's home, as well as potential DNA samples. So we're told that the FBI wanted to take this evidence to Quantico for testing, but instead we're hearing from a source that that evidence was sent to a private lab in Florida. Now, the Pima County Sheriff was defending this decision, saying that the FBI agreed to allow them to take the lead on evidence in this case. But like we're seeing now, a lot of back and forth between local and federal investigators. At the end, though, really just counting on the public right now for any help in solving this case.
And speaking of the public, officials are now asking local neighbors for more clues. Any idea what exactly they're looking for from these neighbors?
Yeah, Brian, we know that the Pima County Sheriff's Department yesterday, they put out a notice to all neighbors in this area asking them to take a closer look at their own doorbell cameras in this area. They were asking them to take a look and see if they see anything sketchy at all between the time of January 1st and February 2nd. Of course, this is a big time frame that they're looking at here. But again, at this point, we're now 13 days into this search. Investigators say they still do not have a suspect in this case as far as we know. So like I said, really just relying on the public right now for any tips and helping.
Derailing in Oaklawn. That's what we begin with, and it is causing a whole lot of problems.
A lot. Brett Bagansky is there. Brett, what are you seeing?
So it looks like crews are still removing debris. You can see quite a bit of equipment still on the tracks right where the metro lines cross with the CSX freight cars. And within the last hour, we found out that crews plan to be out here for the rest of the night and potentially into tomorrow. You also see traffic going over the railroad tracks here off of Ridgeland and Birmingham Street. But if you just go to the north of us, which is closer to that train derailment site, the metro tracks and the freight tracks intersecting, they're not allowing any cars to cross over those lines going to the south here. So once again, this derailment was a freight train on the CSX line right in the path of metro trains on the southwest service line. So metro trains on this line are suspended for the rest of the night. I don't know if you can hear that message behind me. They're just letting everyone know that there's going to be no more service for the night. And there's no guarantee service is going to be back up and running tomorrow. So we spoke with a spokesperson for Metro less than an hour ago who explained why that's the case.
And we have damage to our tracks, and the Indiana Harbor Belt / CSX have damage to the tracks their train was on. So we will be working through the night to repair that. We want people to watch metro.com. We will update. We're hoping we'll be able to provide service in the morning, but we don't know that for certain yet.
And this is affecting thousands of people right here. So you just heard from Meg there saying that if this is their train station that they end up commuting every single day, she said, if you live in this area, your best bet may be to take the Rock Island line. But certainly it's going to be depending on where you live. Some people we spoke to earlier today ended up having to take ride shares and maybe going to the CTA station, especially as they're trying to get from point A to point B. But we're going to keep you updated exactly on what happens with the Metro service, and we'll bring it to you right here on Fox News.
Well, consider it the fourth quarter, and there's only a few minutes to go. And if the Bears want to host a Super Bowl, they're going to have to build this new stadium. The only question now is, will it be Arlington Heights or Hammond, Indiana?
Representatives from the governor's office, legislative leaders, and the Bears are close to an agreement on major issues to move forward in Arlington Heights, according to sources close to the talks. The sources say there is an agreement in principle on two key issues: public financing for infrastructure and the so-called pilot bill that would give the Bears and other mega developers the ability to negotiate property tax rates directly with the municipality. The sources say there are ongoing negotiations on givebacks for taxpayers, as well as affordability options on ticket prices. Bears CEO Kevin Warren says the team can't move forward without the legislation, and has vowed the team will foot all of the costs related to building the stadium. Today, Governor Pritzker sounded optimistic about the direction of talks.
There's a lot of discussion, a lot of ongoing conversation with the Bears, and indeed, frankly, progress that's been made. So I'm pleased about that. But I'm going to let the Bears talk about what it is that they want to get done and how they want to get it done.
But are Illinois lawmakers making their moves too late in the game? Indiana's counterparts have already passed their bill out of the state Senate and are planning to move it in the state House as well. Indiana's Republican Governor Mike Braun has announced his support. That bill would create a public authority that would finance all or part of a new stadium, with the Bears paying rent. Sources close to the team say the only Hoosier State site is near Wolf Lake, right across the border in Hammond. Indiana lawmakers have said they plan to pass their bill by the end of their legislative session, February 27th. Illinois State Rep Cam Buckner, part of the state's negotiations here, say that doesn't factor into his thinking.
But we are not in competition with them as far as I'm concerned. What we're doing is having the conversations to make sure we can fine-tune what needs to happen in order for there to be a deal here in this state that works for everybody.
The time frame here is very important. Indiana does end its legislative session February 27th. The Bears could very likely make a decision in the next 2 weeks because of that. But notice the tone difference from Illinois lawmakers and the governor. In the past, it was, we're not helping out a billion-dollar corporation. Now it's, let's try to make a deal that's good for the state and good for the team. So the tone is changing, but the clock, Terrence, is ticking.
What is it? That bright light streaking across the sky in this video? Well, we wanted an answer, so we went straight to the experts. The American Meteor Society tells us they received several calls about it. Turns out this was actually a fireball. Sounds pretty intense, but the director of public observing at Adler Planetarium tells us the explanation behind the name is actually pretty simple.
When you have something interacting with Earth's atmosphere, quick streak of light in the sky, something's burning up in our atmosphere. So we call that a meteor. And if something is pretty bright and a little bit bigger than your average run-of-the-mill quick streak of light in the sky called a meteor, we call that a fireball. And so just a more dramatic name for a more dramatic sight in the sky. And so this is something was burning up in our atmosphere. Something came in pretty fast and burned up. And along the way, it lasted long enough that it could be seen over Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky at least. And those are the reports I've seen so far.
That is pretty neat. She says the fireball was spotted around 10:30 p.m. And if you have any sort of doorbell camera, you might want to check for that video.
Coming up, the group tracking ICE in Chicago. Football injuries may prompt a lawsuit. And Dawn hits a hotspot for Black Restaurant Week.
known as the ICEbreakers.
I would just hear like the whistles and the screaming, and I didn't want to stay inside.
A group of volunteers that patrols the streets of Little Village tracking down ICE agents.
I mean, they pointed like guns at me, they pointed the pepper spray at me.
Ella Bueno is a full-time college student who volunteers several days a week.
I actually have class today, but I wanted to get in like an hour of patrolling.
First stop, Sacramento and 31st.
What they do is they park there, and they put a van, and the van is the one that takes the people over Broadview.
They check spots agents are known to frequent.
This is where Alex and I found them.
Hidden parking lots.
So we check here, the back. It's also a staging area.
Shopping centers.
We started seeing FBI agents. We got one guy here.
The peeps.
And tips from residents.
Yeah, they spotted them on Garfield.
They look at a few things. The vehicle, the plates, the driver.
Like any out-of-state plate, we automatically know.
Right, they're always suspicious.
Sometimes they come up empty.
I don't think it's them.
Other times the encounters are intense. Like this one in December when they spotted federal agents outside the Menards along Cicero Avenue.
Don't be dangerous. We're not being dangerous at all. You guys were being dangerous.
When agents are spotted, the whistles echo down the streets, letting families know to get inside and lock their doors.
Little Village is very well protected. So if they come, we'll right away, we'll activate everybody, and then we'll box them in.
Then alerts go out to other ICEbreakers who then alert community members through various social media platforms. But if ICE agents present a signed warrant, they step back.
We are not impeding an investigation because they're catching people on the street, and like let's say they do have a warrant and they show us the warrant, then we back off.
Baltasar Enriquez leads the Little Village Community Council and founded the ICEbreakers. He says the alert system idea came from his own childhood when a simple whistle warned friends police were nearby.
We did this because they're not going after criminals. They're going after innocent people that is selling tamales, waiting for the bus, taking their kids to school.
ICEbreakers started with a few adults. Soon their children took over.
They started telling their neighbors, their family members, even their children, hey, go help out the community council because they're patrolling. And that's how I got these young people to start patrolling with us because of their parents. Their parents had advised them, hey, there's a patrol team out there, and if you go help them out, you know, it's okay.
Like 19-year-old Alexander Garduño.
Every single day I woke up at 5 a.m. and patrol.
Fear in his own home pushed him to take action.
They worry about going out, especially my stepdad.
He's had several violent encounters with ICE.
I already been threatened by them, tear gas by them.
The operation is fully funded by the Community Council, nearly 200 volunteers, many the children of immigrant parents working around the clock.
Who is this guy?
They don't just patrol, they connect families with legal help.
Law firms that we're working with are doing it pro bono.
And provide food, clothing, and other resources.
It's grassroots, we get donations, or some people just put their money out of their pockets just to keep the community safe.
Baltasar says their alert system has prevented dozens of families from being separated.
Families have been separated, and the effect that it does is very, very traumatic. When the children are asking for their dad and their mom.
For him, it's personal. He came to the U.S. under Ronald Reagan's amnesty and remembers the raids of the 80s.
And I wouldn't want another kid to experience what I experienced.
Still, the effort comes with risk.
It's kind of like an obligation to my community, a moral obligation.
A risk they're willing to take.
God allows me to keep doing this, I'm just going to keep doing it.
I would do it 100 times over if it meant keeping my community safe.
Yeah, the family tells me this was a very traumatizing experience. The teen's mother says her son was peacefully gathering and protesting, as were hundreds of other students, when he was tackled to the ground, according to her, for no apparent reason. It was all caught on camera. Take a look. Their family says 15-year-old Yuviel Perez Soto, an East Aurora high school student, was tackled by police and had to be rushed to the hospital, where he was treated for bruises and head injuries. Aurora police say officers were responding to multiple coordinated walkouts involving about 1,500 students across the city. They say some students moved into traffic, blocked vehicles, and fights broke out, creating unsafe conditions. Aurora police say 3 teens were arrested and charged with offenses including obstructing and resisting officers. One of the teens is also accused of punching an officer in the head. Tonight we spoke with the teen who says he's now being charged with improper walking in the roadway.
In that moment, he was grabbing me by my sweater and he spun me around. Then some random officers tried to they came out of nowhere and just tackled me to the ground. They were putting all their weight on me and I couldn't breathe. I told them get off me because I couldn't breathe at all. I couldn't breathe. I just woke up and then they grabbed me. They put me back in the back of the van.
Students and community members gathered once again last night, this time in front of the Aurora Police Department. They are demanding that those charges against the 3 teens be dropped, and they're also demanding for accountability as far as the Aurora Police Department.
We found out today that the son is still not going to school right now. We met up with him earlier today along with his father. His right wrist is in a cast, and his symptoms from the concussion that he suffered are apparently still so severe. He's having some vision problems and some balancing issues. And to make matters worse, they are now saying after everything that happened, they are now getting death threats. So the specific language in this lawsuit that the Solomon family is getting ready to file against Valparaiso Community Schools isn't defined yet, or it's not clear cut at this point, but speaking to the father, Jason Solomon, who told me he feels that the high school was negligent after his son broke his wrist and then hit his head on the field house floor after a football drill during some off-season workouts. So that hit reportedly turned out to be a concussion. So his father tells me no one from the school contacted him that night about any of his son's injuries. He said he found out about it only after his son texted him that he was not feeling well. So Solomon told me he confronted the coaches that night who told him his son was going to be okay and that he only had a sprained wrist. He said they never mentioned anything about a head injury, and Solomon told me none of the football coaches or training staff knew where his son was after practice. He told me he had to go searching for him inside the school, where he found his son alone in a gym.
And then I finally got him into the car, and then as I was pulling out, he just went forward. His neck went forward, his eyes, he's having a hard time keeping his eyes open. So I'm holding on to the steering wheel and I'm holding him and I'm like, buddy, please stay up. And I even put the window down to try to get some air in. I says, keep your eyes open. And he goes, Dad, I'm not well. I don't feel well. I says, buddy, we're getting to the emergency room.
So within the last hour, the superintendent for Valparaiso Community Schools got back to me and disputed some of the things that the father just told us right here on Fox Chicago. He told me that he was saying that no injury was reported or observed during practice, and that the coach was notified only after practice ended, and that the coach and the training staff did everything that was above board after everything that happened during that football practice that happened last week.
Time to eat. Chicago Black Restaurant Week is here, and this year is special with treats all over the city during this Black History Month.
This is our best damn Polish. Hey, that's what they call it. It's our best damn Polish.
Chef Royce at Soul Prime is ready for 2 weeks of cooking and eating.
This is a fan favorite, but I'm introducing it to us for Chicago Black Restaurant Week, and this is our tomahawk pork chop.
Chicago Black Restaurant Week is in full swing February 8th through the 22nd, and it coincides with Black History Month, with this year marking a milestone.
I said, well, I think I need to create something for my community.
Lauren Smith founded the food celebration back in 2015 to help Black-owned restaurant owners like Chef Royce, and this year it has more meaning.
Dr. Carter G. Woodson created Negro History Week 1926, so that was literally 100 years ago. Chicago Black Restaurant Week purposely fell on the second week in February, which is when Negro History Week was created. So 100 years of, anniversary of Negro History Week.
And after more than 3 years in Lincoln Park, Chef Royce is serving up food for the soul.
This dessert is called our pizza cookie. This is our renowned lobster avocado toast. This is a fan favorite. But I'm introducing it to us for Chicago Black Restaurant Week, and this is our tomahawk pork chop, our braised short rib ravioli. And this is a dessert that we're featuring only for Chicago Black Restaurant Week, which is our lemon mascarpone cake. Can't wait to serve you guys.
But wait a minute.
So can I order that on the side, those famous wings that I
Yo,
love?
famous chicken, yes, Dawn, I apologize. It is on the menu, girl. I would not ever, period. I would not ever delete that. I think the world needs to have that. So the fried chicken with my spicy bourbon sauce is on our Chicago Black Restaurant Week prefix menu.
Awesome.
Shrimp and grits, chicken and waffles, and we got this amazing French toast as well.
And a few miles away, the Duplex Restaurant and Bar has been a hit since 2021. Laquan Rice proud to have his Black-owned restaurant on the list out of Logan Square.
I think I'm the only one in Logan Square. I think Logan Square has been great for me. They've been very welcoming. The people that live in the neighborhood, the other restaurants that we can side with, I think they've been great.
With a DJ spinning on weekends and brunch and dinner weekly, it's a vibe.
Got this great atmosphere, right? So we got a DJ that's on. The DJ comes on at noon, goes into 4 o'clock, and there's times where you see people lying dancing in the space.
And for Black Restaurant Week, an elevated menu.
We started out with bread service. I think like some of the second course part of it, we got a great gorgonzola wet salad, and then the branzino, which I love branzino fish. And if you're not into seafood at all, we also have like a vegetarian option, which is our tortellini pasta.
A menu just as diverse as the list of Chicago restaurants participating.
Check out the list for Chicago Black Restaurant Week. Obviously, we want you here, and I think it's a really good time to kind of give back while you're doing so.
It's so important that y'all get out here and support us, not just Soul Prime, but there's so many other restaurants, and we're just delighted. We're grateful to be a part of this.
These businesses deserve it, and you're gonna eat good and drink good and whatever else good. Grab your cronies, get everybody out, and let's just eat.
Coming up, the Cubs feeling the heat in Arizona, hidden dangers of weight loss drugs, and a local man loses 70 grand to an AI love scam.
So we've been down here in Arizona all week long, have spent the last 2 days with the Cubs, and the sense I get around this team right now is that Game 5 loss in the NLDS, it still stings, but bigger picture, it gave this team a taste as to what it's like to make a postseason run, to play baseball in October. Jed Hoyer was telling me in his career, some of the best seasons come after a postseason run that fell short, but now this team is turning that disappointment into motivation as they prepare for the upcoming year, as well as making it back to the postseason.
You look at this team on paper, obviously we're very capable. There's no question in my mind. Losing is motivating for sure. So, I mean, that was the best thing to come out of the postseason, I feel like. So, yeah, I mean, getting experience at Wrigley was one of the coolest things in my life, and nothing has compared to that yet.
You go into the playoffs and having it end so abruptly, it's kind of just a sour taste in your mouth. And the guys we brought in and just talking with the guys, we're here to win, and I think that's the mindset coming into this camp, and I think it's something that's going to really drive us.
Well, you look at the players that they have on this roster now. Overall, a pretty veteran group. They've got depth in the rotation. Add in a bat like Alex Bregman. He's going to have an instant impact in the lineup. The Cubs really look like serious contenders, especially, though, if they can stay healthy here. Craig Counsell got the chance to talk with him one-on-one as he shares his expectations for the upcoming season.
Look, it's hard to get where we got last year, and I think it's hard to get on teams like this. And I think it makes you really want to just like be in the present and kind of enjoy this and understand that everything you do every day leads to like what happens in the month of October, and it leads to like having a good season. So it does the work for itself almost, if that makes sense. And it is motivating, and it does feel like you got the taste of something so sweet, and then you want more of it. You want that month of October to continue. You want those feelings from games at Wrigley Field in October to be, you want more of it, and you want that for the fans because you know it's such a great experience.
A pair of Art Institute employees, fittingly wearing Cubs caps, wheel in one of the most famous paintings in baseball history and carefully place it on a gallery wall. The first Norman Rockwell in the museum's massive collection, and one that has special meaning to Cubs fans everywhere.
This is a really big deal for the Art Institute. It is so exciting for the museum. We are located in the heart of Chicago, and so to be able to celebrate the Chicago Cubs in this way is certainly the museum's dream.
The dugout was painted by Rockwell in 1948 for the cover of the Saturday Evening Post. It's being donated by former Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner and his wife Diana, who bought it for $700,000 in 2009.
We've enjoyed the painting for a very long time, just in our home and in our family. But it's really it's a painting for a community, and so we wanted to share it with the Chicago community.
It's a very emotional gift for me because this is my favorite painting. I'm a Norman Rockwell massive fan.
The painting was based on a series of photographs taken after the Cubs lost a doubleheader at Braves Field in May of 1948, with Rockwell in attendance.
And so Rockwell decided to do a cover focused on the dejected Cubs in the dugout, contrasted with the gleeful fans cheering in the background.
Rockwell posed 4 Cubs, including manager Charlie Grimm, and instructed them to look dejected, and recruited some Braves fans to jeer the players above the dugout.
And then he asked the Braves bat boy to put on the uniform of the Cubs team and pose as the Cubs bat boy, and he paid him $5 to do that.
The painting's new home is here in Gallery 263, the Arts of Americas, and it's hanging in a murderer's row of American art. Edward Hopper's Nighthawks, Grant Wood's American Gothic, and artworks by Georgia O'Keeffe and Diego Rivera.
You're surrounded by one of the great collections of American art anywhere, and a collection of icons, truly a collection of icons.
And the workers who wheeled the painting in say it's important to them as well.
My grandparents took me to the Cubs games when I was 5 years old. Been a big fan ever since.
I can look at that and think about the emotions of what they've overcome over the years and the trials and tribulations and the victories, and it's just a great thing. It's a great emotional connection.
Do you think maybe this will spur the Cubs on? They're looking good. Spring
eternal.
I don't think you should answer.
At the Art Institute, Dane Placco, Fox Chicago.
This is going to be of interest to a lot of folks. New research out of Australia raising some red flags about GLP-1 drugs this morning. Dr. Disha Narang, endocrinologist and director of obesity medicine at Endeavor Health, is joining us this morning to break down what we need to know. Good morning, Dr. Narang. The new study details how in some patients they studied, the GLP-1s left them malnourished. Some people even had vitamin deficiencies. And as you and I were talking in the commercial break here, even vitamin C deficiency, scurvy, this is for pirates. What's going on here with this drug?
Yeah, it's not the drug that's causing these issues. This is, I think, just people are not getting adequate dietary advice. And so, the drug on its own, I think, of course, everyone's really excited about the weight loss, and those sorts of benefits. But really, long-term weight management has to be comprehensive in nature. And that means that not only, would someone potentially be taking the medication, but does that mean, are they getting adequate nutrition? That means, are they getting adequate protein intake, their fruits, veggies, grains, all those things, along with adequate exercise. And unfortunately, I think that, when we're not getting appropriate dietary counseling around the success of this long-term, that's when we start to find some of these nutritional deficiencies.
So let me clarify here. You're not saying that these GLP-1s are causing people to lose nutrition. It's just the fact that they aren't eating properly and taking care of themselves properly.
Right. Right. So
Okay.
again, success long term with medication management stems from making sure that we're doing all the things that we're supposed to be doing day to day. And that means, making sure that we have a healthy diet, that we are very active. The medication alone is not a magic wand. And when we just rely on that and we're not focusing on the other things, that's when we start to see some of these nutrition issues or muscle loss or those sorts of things. And so this is exactly why a comprehensive approach to medical weight management is just so important, because this is a chronic disease. These are meant to be, treatment for long term. And so this is exactly why we need to make sure that we are focusing on those things from the get-go rather than having patients develop nutrition deficiencies.
The fact that these drugs do suppress the appetite, is that making it more difficult for people to maybe get the nutrition that you're recommending that they get?
Yes, exactly. So I think that means that it's that much more important to be very mindful about what we are eating day to day. We have to go in with a plan. This is how we're going to get our protein. This is how we're going to get enough vegetables and other, grains and other nutrition. So it doesn't happen on the fly, right? And so that's why this is so important to continue meeting with your doctor about, to discuss a plan for your success long term. And, without a mindful approach as to how you're going to, eat day to day, week to week, it's going to be very, very hard to maintain good nutrition.
Are there any specific foods maybe that you recommend that people that are taking these GLP-1s take? And we got about 30 seconds left here, Dr. Narang.
Yeah, focus on your protein, focus on a high fiber diet, right? And so a lot of that is going to make sure that you're getting the nutrients that you need. So fruits, veggies, lean proteins, and grains. We don't avoid carbs. We need carbs to give fuel to our cells. But, we want to limit processed foods, and that's the big thing to really focus on.
Quick yes, no question, Dr. Narang. It almost sounds like even if you're taking these GLP-1s, that good diet and exercise still important in the part of the program.
It is just so important. The medication is 98% what you're doing day to day. Or sorry, the medication is 2%. What you're doing is 98%. So that does not, it's not a free pass, right? So we got to still focus on, comprehensive, healthy lifestyle, and the medication is just a resource.
And the funny part is that I used to think that I was smart enough not to get into it.
That's the thing about getting play. It's not desperation that gets you, it's confidence. We're calling him Grant Trusts. Not his real name. He asked us to hide his face, hasn't told his friends, hasn't told his family. Too ashamed. But he's sitting here with us anyway because what happened to him could happen to you.
And it was heartbreaking. I mean, I couldn't believe it, obviously. But
it started on Facebook dating, normal profile, normal conversation. We verified everything he told us, police reports, FBI complaint, Better Business Bureau filings, screenshots from the chats and apps. He reported it all. He showed us her photo. This is Kay.
Honestly, it did. You get excited, right? I mean, she's beautiful, she's good looking, and she talks to you nice. And it took at least a month or two to really get to know each other in a way, obviously talking every day. And yeah, emotionally, you get attached.
This wasn't fast. That's important. Months of talking every day. FaceTime, routine. It felt real, which is why it worked. It's called confirmation bias.
When we see something that we truly want to be true, we will confirm it is true for ourselves, even though something within us knows it's too good to be true.
Former FBI undercover operative Eric O'Neill says something inside us knows better. We just don't listen.
You feel disappointed, you feel betrayed, you have everything. And plus, you know you're losing all this money.
Kate told Grant she was making money trading crypto. Said she'd show him how. Start small, $100. The app showed profits. He tested it, withdrew a few thousand. It worked. So he kept going and going. Took out a $40,000 loan. Lost $70,000 total. When he finally tried to pull out more, the app locked him out. He confronted Kay. Why are you scamming people? She wrote back, because you are stupid.
I went back to this the Facebook dating app, and I found her with other profile, with other names, same pictures, other pictures.
We always say, think from the mind, from the head, not from the heart.
because the moment you have relinquished your logic, that's where you lost the battle.
We show cybersecurity expert Ethan Ravi this photo. Took him 5 seconds to spot it. AI. It's letting scammers run industrial scale fake love.
AI usage when it comes to cyber criminal and fraud related cases had spiked by 70% in the past 12 months alone.
He says they're not hacking systems anymore, they're hacking people, and it's all built for people who think they're too smart to fall for it.
I couldn't talk to nobody, trust me, and nobody knows about this. Because it's a shame, it's embarrassing, and I want people to learn from my mistakes.
Grant doesn't think Kay was just one person. O'Neill and Ravi agree. They believe it's an organized network, a whole industry banking on you, then looking for help.
After you lose all this money, and then you keep asking questions, and you start getting all these lawyers' ads telling you that they will help you and investigate and blah, blah, blah. And I lost another $3,000 investing money to try to get legal aid, to follow this trace with these people, and it's another scam.
You think you'd never do that, but last year in Illinois alone, people lost $36 million to romance scams. Nationwide, $1 billion. O'Neill used to catch spies. Now he tracks scammers. So does Ravi. His company helps people like Grant get back what they lost. Both say this doesn't stop at dating or adults.
Attackers will use social media profiles that look like a beautiful young girl, for example, and they will use it to prey on young teenage boys. It becomes a little bit more spicy, and then your young teenager gets a nude picture, and the person they're chatting with says, "It's your turn." And as soon as they send that image, it becomes a very serious exploitation where they're asking for money, or they're going to send that picture to everyone that your child knows. And there have been a number of cases, about a dozen in the last few years, where teens have committed suicide out of the shame and the fear.
The shame, that's what keeps people quiet. Grant's not silent anymore. He's in therapy now. He deleted all dating apps on his phone, and he's paying off his debt every month for at least a year, maybe longer, while police investigate. Grant's got no updates, and O'Neill says there's a reason why.
These sort of offenders are everywhere. Most of them are overseas, and that makes it very difficult to punish them for the crimes. They're in places that can't be extradited.
There's a lot he doesn't know. When Kay will be caught, when he'll be able to trust again, when he'll find someone to love. But he knows it's worth the wait, just not at any cost.
We are humans. I will hate to say not to fall in love, not to follow your feelings, but unfortunately we have to be very careful. It's unfortunately, a lot of people out there get to know the person, don't put any money on it.
Coming up, Chicago historical figures you may not know about, and Jennifer Jones with a Valentine's Day to remember.
Black History Month, and in honor of the celebration, our resident Chicago historian, Sherman Dilla Thomas, is diving into some historical figures you may not be aware of. Dilla, thank you for being here.
Oh, my pleasure.
Good to see you. Second week in a row I get to talk to you. All right, so we want to dive into some of these historical figures here that you were highlighting. Vincent Cullors. Who was Vincent Cullors?
Oh, Vincent, my main man, Vinny. Not my cousin, Vinny, but Vincent Cullors has the distinction of being the first African-American to own an advertising agency. Yeah, we know Chicago is an advertising town,
Sure.
right? We give the world Jolly Green Giant and,
all the McDonald's
yeah,
characters.
Snap, Crackle, Pop,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. But Vincent Cullors was very early to advertising, and it had a lot to do with the blues and jazz history in Chicago, so he was able to pull from them to create jingles, and he was the first.
He was the first. Okay, Barbara Sizemore, you're also highlighting her life, the first black woman to lead a large school district.
Yeah, absolutely. She's a Chicago educator,
Okay.
but she ended up going out to Washington, D.C. and becoming the superintendent of their schools. And that's really, really powerful. For a long time, we didn't think women in general, but particularly black women, had the capabilities of being executives of large school districts, but Barbara Sizemore's show proved them wrong. And there's a school named for her here in Chicago as well. She was was an amazing, amazing person with a great afro.
Yeah, there it is right there. What year did she elevate to that position in D.C.?
Don't give me
thereabouts.
about the 70s. Don't give me the fibbing. But yeah, I know she was the first.
Got it. Okay, S.B. Fuller. Who is S.B.
Oh,
Fuller?
man, S.B. Fuller. We owe so much to brother S.B. Fuller. So S.B. Fuller happened to be a gentleman. In the 1950s, he was probably the most wealthiest black man in the country. And he sold hair care products, among other things. But more than what he sold, he trained people. And one of the people that he trained was George Johnson. And George Johnson gives us Afro Sheen and Johnson hair care products. And he actually trained John H. Johnson, and he's the inventor of Ebony and Jet magazine. So S.B. Fuller is certainly a black person we should know.
Wow, okay. Let's see. Christina Jenkins, you are highlighting her achievements as well.
Now, I'm going to try not to crack all the jokes in the world because I'm a little bit silly. But women wear hair extensions, right? And formerly before that, they wore wigs, and she's the first person to kind of piece it. And so what we refer to as hair weave was invented in Chicago by a black woman.
Wow. Okay, Christina Jenkins. Then that was her name. What era was
she
this?
Was that
about?
very early. This was in the 1950s.
Okay.
She was a student in cosmetology school, and she, wigs were kind of one size fit all sort of thing. And she thought that sometimes you didn't need a full wig; you just need a little bit of an extension in certain places. And that's a $1 billion industry now.
For sure, for sure. I feel like we have kind of a hair care theme going here because you're talking also about Marjorie Taylor Stewart. Who was Marjorie Taylor Stewart?
So America always talks about Madam C.J. Walker, right,
Yes.
being one of the first self-made millionaires, right, in the country. But in order to do that, you got to have an amazing workforce, right? And I say no one's really truly self-made. And Marjorie was in charge of all 300 of her beauty schools. So Madam C.J. Walker had 300 schools across the country, and Marjorie was the boss of them all. And when Madam C.J. Walker passed away, Marjorie kept it going. She's also one of the founders of the Bud Billiken Parade, which is something that we absolutely still celebrate today. So some amazing, amazing black history out of Chicago.
Very cool, very cool. Where, Dilla, can folks check out more on these historical figures and some of your other work?
There's Juliana Richards has this thing called the History Makers here in Chicago. It's a website you can go to where she's interviewed maybe thousands of black luminaries across the country, but primarily here in Chicago, and I think that's a great place to start. And if you want to check out your boy Dilla, you can find me on all social media platforms, 6-Figure Dilla. We would love to see you on the bus. That's my camera. We would love to see you on the bus. ChicagoMahogany.com. Be a tourist in your city. You live in the greatest city on earth. Everything dope about America comes from Chicago.
Live music is perfect for a Valentine's Day date night this weekend, and you're going to be able to catch local artist Jennifer Jones' performance at Lazy Bird Cocktail Bar. That's like Green and Lake Street, I want to say.
Yes,
yeah, right there.
Green.
Well, she's here this morning to talk more about her career, give us a taste of what is to come. You are a Chicago gal, are you not?
I am.
Yes.
Born and raised in Inglewood.
All right, and now you're just like a superstar here. Who were your idols, like vocal idols, when you were young, you're classically trained?
I am.
Yeah, I mean, you know your stuff. So who'd you look up to?
I won't say idols, but Ella Fitzgerald.
Oh, why not?
Mahalia Jackson.
Best gospel singer ever.
Man. And I know a lot of people, when women, love to portray men, I love Marvin Gaye.
Yeah, all right,
and
good.
So he has a way of maneuvering through notes that I've never seen before. And so I love them.
You have, how big is your range? Because I've heard some of your singing. You can get up there into, mini Rippertonville, way up high.
I think the last time I checked, I was a C6. But
okay.
I am trying to break a glass. That is my goal.
That's your goal? Do we have some glassware in here? Let's get your accompanist to come in here maybe with some glassware.
I try often. That is my goal. I really am trying to perfect piercing through a glass.
There must be some special technique to doing that. Is it the vibrato or is it the actual note itself?
It's the actual note itself, a lot of diaphragm work, a lot of being right on the note. and just kind of creating a piercing sound that can, and it is, whew. Sometimes it's beautiful, sometimes it's not.
Now, sometimes you perform with the experience, right?
The experiment.
The experiment, that's
yes.
who they are. You were here before a couple of years ago.
We were.
Yeah.
We were. And so the experiment is a band that I created years ago. And it was for a jobbing band. And when COVID hit, we ended up just having to do things differently. Sure. And so here we are.
Here you are. Introduce your accompanist, by the way. We want to give him a shout out.
This is the one and only Walter English.
Walter, we know you're going to help her out here on the keyboard. When you're making your set list, how do you kind of come up with songs you're going to play, especially like on a holiday? You do something special for the Valentine show you're doing?
So I just think about the crowd.
Tunes.
Love tunes.
Yeah.
Dance tunes, tunes to get you in the mood. I think about the crowd, how diverse it is, and I just kind of go with the flow. Walter will tell you the set list changes as I go.
Okay.
I have songs listed, but I don't always do them.
Sometimes you just, Walter, yes. We're doing track 8. He's ready to go.
Always.
Well, what are you going to perform for us right now?
I'm going to do my rendition of I Will Survive.
I believe we're familiar with that song. Ladies and gentlemen, Jennifer Jones and Walter English. Take it away.
First I was afraid, I was petrified, kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. And then I spent so many nights thinking how you did me wrong, but I grew strong and I learned how to get along. From outer space, I just walked in to find you here with that sad look upon your face. Weren't you the one who tried to hurt me with goodbye? Did you think I'd crumble? Did you think I'd lay down and die? Oh no. Survive. Oh, and as long as I know how to love, I know I'll stay alive. I've got all my life to live and all my love to give. I will survive. I will survive. Go on out.
This has been your Fox Chicago Week in Review. Until next time.